match between CDEC and Virtus Pro Polar. Virtus Pro Polar did manage to win that one and has gone into the winner bracket, and now we have two teams vying to play against them. I'm joined on stage by Evil Geniuses and LV. We're going to bring the captains up for a pregame interview. Let's hear it for the captains. Come on up, guys. PPD, I know that your team had a few travel issues, but you're all here in Vegas now. How does it feel to be here in Vegas?
I mean, it's a really fun place to be, so we're just looking forward to some good games.
Nice. And have you had a chance to enjoy Vegas at all, or are you staying pretty focused?
Nah, I just got here like a few hours ago, so I went to the hotel, took a quick shower, and now I'm here.
All right, very good. Dedication. And what about you guys? Have you had any fun in Vegas yet so far?
没有，走了很久。
No fun, only games. All right, well, looking into this game, you had a few changes to your roster. Can you tell us a little bit about who you're playing with today and what you're expecting out of them?
So for this tournament, we're having Aoi 2000, previously from Cloud9, as a stand-in, and also we have our 15-year-old prodigy, Sumal. He just moved to the U.S. 6 months ago from Pakistan, so he's really excited to get into the scene.
And do you think we're going to see anything different out of EG than we usually see with these new players?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty brand new EG. I think we'll see a lot of different things.
Very cool. Looking forward to it. And you guys have also had a few roster changes. Tell me about your roster and what we can expect to see from them.
中单牧师，还有猎单的 Ohio 以前是 MY 马来西亚那个。
He's saying that Mushi is their new mid, and they have Ohio from Malaysia.
And can we expect to see anything new out of your team, or will it just be the solid performance we're used to seeing?
我们能期待新的战术吗？
我们刚组队10几天，应该是过来学习的，我们还尽量吧。
We only formed our team about 10 days ago, so we're here to learn.
Wow, so a very fresh matchup. I, for one, am excited to see it, so let's get right into it. Go ahead and shake hands, guys. Good game, good luck, have fun. And I will throw it back to our dashing casters, AC and Tralf.
Greetings and welcome back, everyone, or perhaps welcome in for the first time. If you're just joining us for the first time here today, we're back here on the floor of the Emperor's Ballroom at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. The D2L playoffs roll on. Our grand finals just about 24 hours away from us now. Our second series ready to get going right now. Looks like we're going to have to relaunch the room. There we go. But hopefully we have these two teams going here in just a minute. It is Evil Geniuses taking on LV Gaming. Now, couple of things about LV, couple of things about EG. We have a lot to talk about. We don't even have the rosters. We're not even going to worry about that. We're just going to get the draft rolling, and we're going to talk about the two storylines with these two teams. LV, the composition they had, you know, their roster they had during our regular season was impressive enough on its own.
Yeah.
And then suddenly they decide they're just going to bring in two very awesome players that are basically living legends, at least one of them in Mushi and Ohio. I mean, it creates this dynamic. What do we expect out of them? How are they going to gel with this squad coming in like this in a LAN appearance? But also, like, that kind of an upgrade in talent just can't be underestimated.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to me is that Inflame was their mid player, if you remember, if you're watching the regular season. He was their mid player for LV.
Yeah.
And if you remember, he was playing very quirky, weird heroes. Like, he would play Abaddon mid one game. He would play just some very different things. They had some very weird drafts, but he was their mid player. Played a lot of Invoker, too, and his Invoker was phenomenal. So that's my interesting thing to watch for, is who's going to be playing mid. I'm expecting it to be Mushi, but, you know, just based off of because Inflame was playing it before, who knows. But it'll be interesting to see because he was such a great mid. Wasn't exactly the best laner as far as CS goes, but man, that guy could transition. So that is my number one thing, is to see what roles they're playing first of all. But I think that the biggest thing is, as we mentioned, I think that ZYF, who is playing here on this roster, is probably the biggest standout. I know we mentioned him, maybe. He played phenomenally. Unfortunately, they are in the losers bracket, but he did play well. But ZYF really impressed both of us. He played a lot of Terrorblade in the regular season. We'll have to see if they pick more of that.
Yeah, it's definitely something to keep in their back pocket. And Terrorblade is much like that Naga Siren pick so many viewers tend to dread. It's kind of a safety belt. If you build even a somewhat comprehensive composition around him, you can make space. You can play a lot of play styles with it. You can go gank, you can go 4 protect 1, you can do whatever you want. We'll have to wait and see. The draft is underway. We'll be moving into that in just a moment after we get a better idea of the first few picks. But let's talk about this Evil Geniuses Geniuses squad, playing with two new players, AUI 2000, not an unfamiliar name whatsoever, doesn't hardly need an introduction, just a phenomenal player, used to play carry at one of the best supports you're going to see anywhere in the West. But how about the young prodigy known as Sumail? He's a guy that you caught me up on, for lack of a better way to put it. I mean, he's been in the headlines, he's been making news here and there, etc. Obviously, with all the goings-on and the transacting and such in the roster shuffle here in the West.
Right.
But his story, as you related to me anyway, is that he's a 15-year-old prodigy, originally from Pakistan, now living in Chicago for just a handful of months, and suddenly he finds himself on Evil Geniuses. How good is this kid, Trout?
I mean, I know him quite well. He's a good friend of mine, even in the small amount of time I've known him, about 2 months, and he is phenomenal, man. He is one of the best mids I've ever played against. He practices all the time. His Storm Spirit in particular, I'm curious to see if EG decide to go for that, but it is his absolute signature hero. He plays it more than anyone I've seen plays it better. And he just, he played a lot of pubs, just got a lot of experience, and I actually saw him playing in the Dream League qualifiers for NA a long time ago, and I saw him playing on a team, and he just was dominating. I was like, this guy is going to go somewhere. And he started playing in NEL a lot. We brought him to NEL and just got noticed and picked up. And you have a talent and you're good enough of a mid player, you'll get picked up pretty soon. So.
Well, looks like we are ready to move on into the draft. How do things look to begin things off? How about a first pick puck and Witch Doctor? For Evil Geniuses, LV opens up with a Lycan pick, and obviously still waiting for the texture of the draft to really reveal itself. But, you know, one thing I do want to bring up as a bit of a, a storyline not just for this series, but about Dota as a whole. How many amazing players are there? And the ones that come to mind for me are DDZ out from Southeast Asia, and then Smash down in South America, where you have these amazing players who you wonder if they got on the right team and they were actually living in a geographic region where they can compete in big tournaments on the regular. They were able to play in bigger tournaments. They were able to play in online tournaments. How good could they be if they ever got in a position where they were with that level of talent in the West or in China, and so on and so on? This is our first major look, in my opinion, at that phenomenon. These young, talented players. And, I don't know the rest of Sumail's backstory. All I know is this is going to be either a coming out party or it's going to be the first step in a long road for EG to find the success that they had all the way through last year and leading up to TI4.
Yeah, well, like I said, he was playing in Europe a lot just for pubbing. I don't know much about that story when he was there playing in Europe. You know what? Another region that I think has the brunt of that unfortunate problem is Australia. I have a couple of really good friends that live in Australia, and that's got to be like the worst region to kind of play from. There's just no proper server. But anyway, that's another.
Shout out to Base Skip.
Yeah, there you go. That's just an awful region to play for Dota. But anyway, yeah, with this draft so far, we see a Witch Doctor puck here for EG. Lycan, which is a hero we haven't seen yet, but we saw a lot from the Eastern scene. And I know that they actually banned out Visage themselves, which is interesting because that was like a very popular combination in the regular season. In the Eastern scene was Lycan Visage. It was picked up all the time for LV Gaming. C-Deck themselves picked it up a number of times, as well as a number of other teams. So interesting to see them ban out the Visage themselves. But I guess they don't want to go against that Drow. But if that was the problem, they could have just banned Drow. So a little bit curious there.
Yeah, just about approaching that halfway point in the draft right now. And I'm like you, as excited as I am to see this new EG squad, I'm just as excited to see how they decide to play this out for LV. The level of talent on LV, if you're one of those folks, and admittedly there's a lot of us, hell, I've been the first to admit I know a lot more about Western Dota than I do Eastern Dota. Even though we cast D2L, it's still a very small window, and it's very hard to just stay up on both scenes equally. But even if you're only a passive kind of a fan of the Eastern seed, you know these names. You know Ohio. You know ZYF. You certainly know Mushi. And Inflame and DDC have certainly built reputations on their own. So I want to see how they decide to play this out. I want to see if this is going to be a universe puck or if it's going to be Sumail taking the puck mid. And you had mentioned, he liked to play, Sumail, likes to play those kind of old school mid heroes, your pucks, your Queen of Pain, and so on and so on. That correct?
Yeah, he likes to play the puck, the Magnus. I think Magnus is personally his best hero, but he plays a phenomenal Storm. It's so funny because last TI and the months coming up to that, it was very different. It was like the Arteezy 2 becomes 1 show in the sense of that their mid player was getting all the farm, and then your carry was kind of an active hero like Potom. If you remember, Potom was picked up all the time, and just you would be active with that hero. Where now it's kind of, at least when I've talked to Sumail, and how it seems to be going now in the direction of Dota is that the mid, those old traditional mids are gaining a lot more popularity. For a number of different reasons. So, he can play puck. I know that Universe plays a great offlane puck as well, so not 100% sure who's going to be taking that, but if it is Sumail playing Puck, I know he'll do great things on that.
Well, so far, still a little bit of time being spent on the bans. Legion Commander and Quap are banned out by EG themselves. Brewmaster actually survived into the second phase, but ends up being banned this time around.
Remaining.
And, you know, it's, I just don't know how
5
this new look
seconds
Evil
remaining.
Geniuses is really going to play. And it's so hard to predict. I mean, AUI, again, an unbelievably
Reserve
versatile
time.
player and what he can play and how he can run it. They're going to go ahead and grab themselves a Bristleback in third position.
Radiant team
Very
pick.
interesting. Okay, this is actually a hero that the Chinese loved, if you remember casting that.
Oh, for sure.
ZYF in particular actually played a lot of Bristleback and just rushed that Crimson Guard, and they really, really liked it. So it's quite good against the Lycan because all of his damage, when he stacks up those quills, are going to be physical. Which is fantastic. It's good against Lion, too, because Lion, while he has burst damage, if that back is facing toward him, it feels like not burst damage at all. It feels like it's not doing anything. So it just comes down to a matter of positioning
10
where he's
seconds
at.
remaining.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever seen EG run Bristleback. Maybe once for
5
fear, but
seconds remaining.
I could be wrong on that. So that's a breath. Yeah, it should be pretty fun to watch.
I'll tell you,
Reserve
last night, you know,
time.
and this, you know, if you ever wonder what it's like, the glamorous lifestyle of casters, at 11 o'clock, Ralph and I were in our socks and our sleep shorts, sitting and just talking Dota in our rooms last night. And one thing that we discussed is you just don't see Pipe picked up all that much at all anymore. Whoops, wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. You don't see Pipes picked up all that much anymore on most heroes in most games. Bristleback's also a phenomenal hero to go ahead and build a Pipe. It takes a lot of farm to get up a Crimson Guard
Evil
and a Pipe, but if you
Geniuses,
manage to
turn
do
to
that,
pick.
suddenly you basically made your team immune to burst damage. You made them immune to Lycan, at least for a small little window of time. And now the Axe picked up for LV. This does give them some much-needed initiation. Evil Geniuses kind of already has that covered as they have the Puck picked up. But, yeah, both. I'm actually liking both drafts so far. And as always, it'll come down to execution.
It's really hard for me to call one way or the other. First of all, there's 3
10
picks only, but I
seconds
don't
remaining.
know what the direction of both of these drafts is going to go. Is Axe just
5
like a top
seconds
pick in China
remaining.
right now? Because it's not like it's a really warranted Axe game unless they're thinking is I want to
Reserve
go
time.
and blink and call on the Bristleback so that he's facing me so that I know we're not hitting his back. Is that the strategy? I don't know. It's also quite good against Puck just because it's kind of difficult to find ways to really keep Puck locked down, and Call is one of them.
Right.
But then again, you have Witch Doctor in the background. He's
10
actually not the.
seconds
He
remaining.
looks squishy on paper, but because of the heal, he's actually not that squishy.
No.
And he also heals up your
5
teammates as well,
seconds
which is like
remaining.
Bristleback being super tanky. So I find the Axe pick very curious. And there's an Ember Spirit that's
Radiant
probably going to be on
team
for
pick.
Sumail, and that will be an offlane Puck.
Yep, so pretty easy to see what's going on. We're going to have Puck, most likely played by Universe out in the offlane. Ember Spirit, Sumail, like you said, very likely his hero going mid. Bristleback, one would imagine, will be farmed as a 1 by Fear, with Witch Doctor played by either AUI or PPD. And, if Zai were a part of the squad, the first thing that would come to mind would be a Wraith King pick.
10
I wouldn't mind that
seconds
at all.
remaining.
If EG wanted to go ahead and tack that onto their lineup, just have another stun, have another way to
5
get into
seconds
fights. You already have
remaining.
one big brawler in Bristleback, but it's hard to tell.
Oh, wow.
Hello,
All right,
OD.
This is some
Geniuses,
fun
turn to
drafting, I
battle.
got to say. The old, as you call him, the old dirty.
Old Dirty.
Yep. So if this is going to go mid, that Ember is going to have a hell of a time. I don't think I've ever seen this matchup just because no one wants to pick an Ember Spirit into an OD. And if that's the case, you
10
maybe
seconds
almost want to
remaining.
have a detour in the draft and say either we're going to completely dual lane mid and help out
5
this Ember, but
seconds
I don't even
remaining.
think that's going to help him out that much because the OD can just astral the Witch Doctor or whoever and just trade right
Reserve
clicks with them.
time.
Right.
Or even, LV responds with their
Radiant
own dual lane
team
and brings
ban.
line into the mix or something. But do you take a detour now and just send the Ember top with a Puck mid and Bristleback? I mean, I'm wondering what EG is thinking right now and what's going through the head, because if they just do a straight up 1v1 Ember versus OD, he's going to get demolished.
Yeah, and then
Or at least he should on paper.
10 seconds
if there's one thing,
remaining.
like you said, that EG does have a lot of options. If you wanted to, like you said, send the Ember Spirit
5
top, you can run
seconds
aggro
remaining.
try. Witch Doctor Bristleback's actually a pretty tough to bully, even if you go dual lanes.
Sure.
You can put those two heroes
Reserve
off lane.
time.
They're disruptive as hell. They're survivable as hell, so you can get something done there. Maybe get a bit more of a favorable mid matchup, but all in all, I just think that's good drafting from LV, staying one step ahead. And EG still waiting to show us what they want to do after all. I mean, you could even send the Bristleback into the offlane if you want. Not optimum, I don't think. And then you could, if you wanted to do something like that, run the Puck mid, and then the Ember Spirit in the safe lane, that's certainly an option. But I do feel like the Bristle benefits a lot when he does get a little bit of farm priority early on.
Yeah, the only thing is I'm wondering if if they did decide to take a curveball and run that Ember Spirit as a 1, like does Fear play Ember Spirit much? I don't know that I've seen him. I remember him playing it right when Ember Spirit got introduced to the scene and he was allowed in Captain's mode. I remember him playing it then because it was just popular. Everyone wanted to, ooh, let's pick the new hero because that's just what you do. And I remember him going Vlad's actually a lot on Ember Spirit, but times have changed. People don't go Vlad's anymore in Ember. And I'm curious to see if he would be able to play that. But I still think it's going to be Sumail. It's Sumail's hero. I know he feels very comfortable. I was talking to him earlier, and he was just like, I would really like to play Ember because it's one of my most comfortable heroes. So I still expect to see him playing that. We'll see. But, yeah, it's very, very weird draft from LV. And Treant Protector coming out last year for EG.
Peter grabbing what he knows and what he plays well. The tree rounds out this lineup. I'll tell you what, this is going to be one survivable-ass lineup. Witch Doctor Heal, Puck, and how elusive he is. Bristleback, of course, tough to bring down under the best of circumstances. Lockdown, I don't know. I was going to say it's lacking, but it's okay on the Ember right now. You do have some abilities you can chain together if you want to Astral Imprison, follow it with a Call, follow it with a Hex, and so on. But that's putting a lot of eggs into one basket. To sell out that much on an Ember. And if you're off even a little bit, even just a few tenths of a second, and you're chaining together of those abilities, your remnants away anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, assuming that their lanes are going to be what seems to be obvious. OD mid, Axe off lane, Lycan Lion in bottom lane, plus another support here. I think they could benefit maybe from a go ahead.
They need counter push. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
like,
I was kind of thinking the same thing.
The way I'm looking at Evil Genius's lineup is that they just get some core items, maybe even something simple as like a Vanguard on Bristle, Phase Boot with the drums onto Ember Spirit, Brown Boots, Blink on Puck, and you just run at towers. Jakiro's good at taking towers, but I don't know. He doesn't do much. He's okay with counter push, I guess, with Macro Pyre, but as a support Jakiro, because he has to be, I would imagine that it would not be a 4-position axe. We'll see, though. I don't know. I'm not sold on LV's lineup. I think that EG's is slightly stronger. And I do fear that once they get their core items, they can just run at towers. And what does OD do in team fights early on? Nothing. What does Lion do before he's level 6? Very, very little. Even Lycan, unless he gets, Vlad's on top of a next item, doesn't do much. Axe with a blink, completely useless, at least close to useless. So I feel kind of scared for LV that if they get run over early on, they're not going to have a way to jump back into the game.
Well, waiting to see. Yeah, it's exactly what we predicted on EG. I don't think they're going to get too cute here. Looks like they're just going to put Sumail out there and try to help him out with good support roaming and good support play early on. But on the side of LV, they're who I really want to watch. Ohio is going to be taking the Axe out into the off lane. It's going to be Inflame playing on our Lion. Feng, I'm pretty sure, is Mushi. Did you get a chance to confirm that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me check here. Feng. Yeah, I believe that is Mushi, yes. Yep. And then Yang would be ZYF.
Exactly. Just want to make sure I got him right. So ZYF on the Lycan. Okay, so this is going to be the look that we see. Can we dim the lights? Says Fury wants the big spotlight on him, apparently. Down they go, and our second series of the day ready to get going. Evil Geniuses taking on LV Gaming, our #1 Western seed, looking to play their way into a winner bracket final against the #2 Western seed in Virtus Pro. And hello, Courier, or hello, Wolf, rather.
Yep.
And for a second there, I was going to say surely not, but yes, hello, Wolf. But yeah, Virtus Pro getting past CDEC and what can only be called an upset in our first series of the day. So we've already run through LV. How about we take a look at EG? Just to remind everyone, we'll be PPD in our Treant Protector, and it's going to be Sumail, the young prodigy, making a land debut here at D2L. And he's going to be one we're going to watch very closely throughout this game. Fear will be playing on the Bristleback. And, of course, Puck, played by Universe, with the Witch Doctor, handled by AUI.
That is one awesome axe, by the way. Look at that thing. That Reaver, whatever that is, that looks so freaking cool. But I'm not sold on this Radiant offlane axe. We've seen it 3 times in a row now. I mean, he goes to the jungle anyway. It kind of begs the question, why place the ward? Unless you get a very, very good block on Radiant. But you have to assume that they're going to get just as good of a block. And if you do on Dire, if it's equal blocks, Dire will always come out on top just because they have better creep equilibrium to counteract just how much better position you have with the trees on Radiant. This is why you have better creep equilibrium. That's hard to say fast.
BT Dubs, they did swap things up, and they're giving Sumail a bit of a break here in his first game on LAN. as he will be running.
This is smart.
Yeah, I agree. And it just makes sense. I mean, Bristle not going to have a great time whatsoever against an OD, but certainly he'll do all right. He's going to do a little bit better than he would out in the offlane universe. Should be able to do fairly well on the puck here. This is one of his best heroes, one of his most experienced heroes, so he'll be solid. As we see Ohio already making the journey down into the jungle, be grabbing his, Ring of Protection and a TP scroll off the courier. And it's just going to be a matter of how these solo laners do. Axe, like we said, bit more of a known quantity as he'll be spending a significant amount of time in the jungle. Whereas Universe is really, I feel like if he can just get a little bit here, if he can just get to level 6 at a decent clip, EG's going to feel pretty good, especially if Sumail farms well, and so far he is sitting near the top of the board.
Yeah, Lycan free farming, though, is very nice with these two supports because once he gets his Vlads and just goes in the jungle to let one of them farm, both of these heroes benefit highly from farm. It's not like a Rubik where you would let just a Rubik go and farm. It's not that big of a deal, but getting an early, Yules onto a Jakiro or an early Blink, that could have been close, actually, for Universe. If they stopped his orb, they could have gotten him into some fatal damage. But rune checking, here we go. LV and Flame, he's checking bottom rune. Let's see what it spawns here. This could be the big rune because as we know, the 0-minute DDs or hastes don't spawn anymore. So these are the ones that matter.
Runes up. It will be a double damage. At top, bounty picked up by Inflame. And it's going to be AUI who snags that double damage rune. We'll see if he wants to do much of anything with it. In mid, Fear's doing quite well for himself. He's got 8 CS in the face of the 11 of the OD. And OD you would expect with the range and his ability to just have his way in this lane should be doing well. But Fear is actually getting quite a lot done. That will probably get to be a bit of a tougher task as the levels increase for those two mid heroes, though.
Well, it's nice to help your last hitting, too, with he's got a Quelling Blade, so that's going to help him. You can't do enough damage to a Bristleback. And even though you constantly take his mana, his spell to get those extra last hits only costs 35. So taking a little bit of damage right now. Auto attacks from the tower as well. But yeah, 9 CS against an OD is not too bad. But the problem against OD, it's a little bit deceptive. This happens a lot where you'll say, oh, they're not doing too badly against OD, but then OD hits level 5 and then they get absolutely nothing. This is usually how that matchup works out.
Universe continuing to trade the paint with DDC. He is coming up on level 3, so not too shabby. How about up at top? Level 3 for PPD. Certainly this lane is going as well as one could expect. Sumail sitting at level 4. He's got 18 CS right up there with Mushi there in mid, and of course AUI. He's going to be at level 3 here soon too, so everything seems to be going pretty well. Jakiro's right on par with that, not far off of it. Yang has dipped into the jungle a bit, has his Bassi up in the meantime while Inflame has spent some time in the lane, has Brown Boots up at about level 3 and an 8th, give or take. So very quiet early game thus far, and I'd say both teams pretty happy with the status quo.
Yeah, this is very early rotations into the jungle from the Lycan. They say, I don't even want a Vlads. I want to give you more experience, more farm early on.
Right.
And it actually somewhat makes sense because you don't necessarily need a Vlads to farm in the jungle once you get up to like level 5, or he goes actually at level 4. It just helps you farm a little bit faster, but you can still sustain yourself. So very interesting here. Universe taking a little bit of damage, actually not taking much because of the living armor there, but here comes Yang with the rotation. They actually hex him. If they can stun him in between, they do. Universe is going to die here.
First blood. Drawn by ZYF. As EG gives up first blood, Universe overstepping himself just a smidgen there. And quite a nice boon for them, especially given it was ZYF that got it after, as you said, dipping into the jungle, freeing the lane up for his supports. That catches him up for that missed time in lane. And yeah, now, again, Fear not in bad shape. He's got an invis bottled up. He's actually number 4 overall in CS, only 6 behind.
That's really good.
Yeah, so he's in great shape. What do you think the item build's going to be here? We theory crafted a bit. We talked about the efficacy of items like Pipe and Crimson Guard. Do you think it's going to be that kind of a game? Do you think maybe he rushes a mech or what?
I think if there's a game to get Crimson Guard, it's this.
Agreed.
There's lots of physical damage from multiple sources of Lycan and his wolves. All of Axe's damage is physical. So if he pops in, jumps in onto some support hero, not only are they going to get tanked up by living armor, it could be the heal. You put the Crimson Guard on top of that, he's not doing any physical damage. And it's like, it's each instance of damage, right? So every time he spins, it's going to be a new instance. So it's actually very, very good against Axe. So I really hope that Fear gets it. It seems like an obvious choice, but we'll see. And he is doing fantastically against mid. I don't feel like Mushi should be giving him this much at all. And that's just a credit to Fear.
Yep, just managing the lane very well. Speaking of Axe, he did make his way down the bottom. He will be spotted by the creeps now. So Universe not going to be caught unawares at all. And both teams seem to content to just continue things as they are. If the status quo continues for another minute or two, which team do you think benefits the most from that? I mean, Sumail's farming well, but so is the OD and so is the Lycan.
Well, LV's lineup is very, very strong in the late game. EG's lineup is going to be a timing lineup where, yes, Ember can contest in the late game, but once they, like I said, once they get their core items like Blink on Puck, that might be far off though because he got killed. And then like, you know, the Crimson Guard or Vanguard and Bristleback, they just go and fight. So if LV can hold off long enough, or at least even get an early lead, then I think this is going to benefit LV in the long run.
Searing Chains caught Mushi, and Sumail's taking a
He has a
long...
DD.
Oh, hello.
Oh, that is not good.
Hammer dropped, and Mushi says, welcome to the big leagues, youngster. 2-0. LV has the lead, and we are going to have a quick pause. And Fear says 2 lagging. And hopefully, whatever the issue happens to be, will be resolved sometime in the near future. How about we go ahead and take this opportunity to take a look at our gold and our XP graphs. LV has generated themselves a bit of a lead. They're at about 1,500 and 700, give or take, XP. So LV certainly feeling pretty good about where things sit at the moment. Taking a look, yeah, going to be just treads on Fear. I'm going to go ahead and remind everyone, you've probably seen it on our bumpers and such between the game and so on. If you happen to be in the market for a new headset, you can make sure you head over to kingston.com/D2LS5. Get information on their current headset as well as the Cloud 2 headset, which should be dropping sometime in the near future. The good folks from HyperX doing their presentations here at CES. The Cloud headset, the headset that I use at home, the headset that Trouf uses at home. Can't wait for the Deuce, for the sequel, to make its appearance coming up soon. And yeah, at CES, a fun place to be, man. You know, we've only gotten to walk around a little bit, but what little bit I have, just peering in windows, there's so much, like, I just want to run and play with things, you know? It's like being in a toy store. Yeah,
there's also tons of like food everywhere. I don't know if you noticed it outside every door. There's just so much good food. They're going to try. Hopefully the problems have resolved. Another astral imprisonment onto the Bristleback, but that's a humongous kill onto the Ember Spirit. I don't know what happened. I was looking at the tail end of it, but he was just trying to get the rune because he does have a bottle. And he was trying to give a little bit of space to Peter. But he should know you can't contest a rune with an OD when it's just 1v1 like that because you're never going to get it. Even if he didn't die, you're never going to get the rune because he just astral imprisons you. So the best he could have hoped for was Searing Bolus and then just kind of walk to the rune. But that's very hard to do.
LV beginning to move here in abouts a little bit. Tread's done on Fear in the meantime. AUI has made his way into mid, anticipating a little bit of pressure. They have wards down, so they're going to spot Ohio, who's moving through the river right now. They also have Inflame, who's collapsing here. Looks like they've had enough of Fear doing as well as he has been. Very little mana. They haven't spotted AUI up on the high ground. Actually, check that. I just noticed this rune. Yeah, they do know he's there. He was walking around right in range, so they back off, and EG backs off too.
And look at the damage just right now from OD. It's 136 damage. So even just simple auto attacks, this is why it's so difficult at this stage right now to actually contest in CS right now. And Fear did a great job early on, but it will be much harder from here on out. And if he gets a couple lucky procs on that too, he's probably going to use it again. Oh no, he doesn't actually. He wants to just wait or something. But yeah, it's very hard to contest with that. Must be buying something on the courier. Yeah, he's standing still. He was buying something. Like sometimes I notice, I'm like, why are they not doing anything? Oh, they're probably just buying something on the courier. And it's going to be a 4-staff. He has a 4-staff at 8 minutes.
A little bit of a lag spike there, and hopefully that wasn't felt too hard. Universe came down.
Wow, that is an early 4-staff.
Yeah, that is a ridiculously early 4-staff. 8 minutes in, man. And, you know, before he gets BKB is when they're really going to want to put the screws to him. Do you think they have the ability right now? I mean, Sumail's continuing to farm. He gave up that one death that was kind of unnecessary. But other than that, EG should be in a position to try to put some pressure on. But, you know, with the OD farming as well as he is, and more importantly, the Lycan, the ticking time bomb that is a Lycan, they're going to have to do something soon.
There's a couple problems with EG, what EG's doing. One, they're putting, of course, Ember in the safe lane. That means if they're trialing in safe lane, then so is the LV supports are getting just as much, if not more, than they are. And these LV supports are ridiculously strong as they're actually in mid. Fear is not even going to, no, not even close, man. I mean, that guy is so tanky. But the faster you get up a blink on this Lion, that Ember Spirit is going to have a hell of a time And he's not. This is not a hero pusher. Like, or sorry, this is not a tower pusher. Like, this hero does not push towers. So, as well as he's farming in the safe lane, he can't really do anything to actually do, get objectives done. Whereas, look at Lycan. I mean, that hero is all about tower pushing. So, a bit of a difference here, and the fact that EG's not making anything happen early on kind of scares me.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I'm a little surprised to see LV rotating as much as they are and then kind of backing off. I mean, it shows patience, but it also is a little bit of a waste of time. Taking a look again at the goal graph, yeah, I mean, slowly but surely LV is getting the most out of the efficiency of this early laning phase, kills and everything else set aside, which are nice infusions. But just overall, as more time goes by, they're winning the lane phase by virtue of nothing. Just they're gaining more gold and experience than EG, period.
I mean, look at Inflame. He is a support. He is a purely support. It's 9 minutes, and he's actually closing in on his blink just because of how much space ZYF has given him by just, exclusively farming in the jungle.
Yep.
And at the same time, they're still putting enough pressure on Universe. Yes, he's got level 6, that's great, but he is nowhere near his blink. So as far as taking early fights, it's going to have to come from the other 4 heroes.
Well, for now, EG still resting on their laurels. They did rotate a few more towards mid. Up at top, we see Ohio. I'm not sure if he was trying to call PPD or just the creeps. He's going to be caught from behind by Sumail. Searing Chains is going to immediately TP out. Nope. PPD, a fresh 6, and lays the wood. Figuratively and literally, as EG finally makes their way onto the board.
I looked at his experience, right? He must have just got that.
Yep, he did.
Oh, boy. That's really good timing for him. And it actually, bam, level 7, too. So got some very good experience out of that. Now level 4 living armor, which is obviously the best. It's going to be very, very good, especially on that Bristleback, but just anyone in general. Bristleback, how's his farm? What's his item progression? It is going to be that Vanguard. And it really needs to be Crimson Guard because this is totally a Crimson Guard game. So very nice kill there from EG. And I really think that LV should maybe start doing some tower pushing right now. They have the Vlad's up for some time on the Lycan. He's got treads now too. He really wants to. I think they just want to wait for this blink on Inflame, honestly. He's up to 1,900 gold right now.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, he's so close. There's no reason to rush it. And again, and obviously we have access to graphs, the teams don't.
Yeah.
But they have to have a sense that this laning phase is going at least break even, if not better for them. So I don't think that they're in any kind of a rush whatsoever in that regard. Plus, Universe's item progression is not good. He's sitting on Null Talisman, Bottle, Brown Boots, and no gold at all towards his blink. So they have time. They have plenty of time to get whatever core items they want, and then they can set the tone.
Universe could be in some trouble. Here comes a TP, though. If he has living armor, I think he should be fine, though. Yeah, living armor. Oh, he even
nice
misses
dodge.
the stun. He should coil him right now. It's going to be a very easy kill.
Inflame trying to make
He's
a run
dead.
for it. Not going to make it. Inflame biffs it. Blink Dagger a little further away, but not much. And they're not done. They're going to try to chase down DDC. They got him from behind. And no, not the best death ward I've ever seen. Sumail going ham. And gets the bolas off. Gets the Searing Chains off. DDC caught him with the Ice Path. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Flame Guard gets the job done. Behind that, we've got Yang in ulti form, ready to try to run someone down. There's going to be another good cast. Good bounces as well. And Yang trying to pursue them down.
Going to die.
Yeah, he just fed. ZYF just said, "Are you hungry? I got something for you."
I have no idea why he went in there like that. They're fighting against casks. He's fighting into 3 heroes. He doesn't have enough damage. They have living armor at their disposal. I thought for sure that that was a bad decision by Lion to go in like that. He was 100 gold away from his blink. If he just waited for that, I think he could burst down the puck fast enough before the living armor comes out. I really do. He has to be super fast with it, but I think he could have done it. Chose the much greedier route. I don't think he gets that kill at all without a blink. It's just too slow.
Yep. And more importantly, Sumail, the big beneficiary of all that, has picked up a Ring of Health. He finishes drums off as well. 2-1 for him. Suffered that early death contesting for the rune and manages to get a couple of kills under his own belt and play a little bit of catch-up. Speaking of catch-up, yeah, EG has cut that lead down to right around 600, and they actually lead in terms of XP right now, which is a big deal whenever you look at their lineup and how level-dependent, for the most part, their heroes happen to be.
Yeah, and it was all like, you look at those deaths, and it's not like, oh, this is what happens, this is what their lineup is meant to do. Those are 100% preventable deaths.
Yep.
Like, he did not need to go in like that. We were just talking about maybe they could push with, Lycan having Vlads. No, they're going to take the safe route. This is the smarter thing to do. He was 100 gold away from his blink. Just not the best decision.
2,000 gold saved up by Mushi. And we'll see what direction he wants to go with his build from here. Again, BKB would certainly help a bit. They do have a lot of stuff that goes through BKB, though. Well, I mean, Go ahead.
Yeah, no, they do. They got the Treant ulti. All of Bristleback is physical, Death Ward, and yeah, I don't think BKB. What's the most likely? Oh, action actually onto Mushi himself. He's dead.
Big kill. Sumail once again gets a kill himself. That's 3-1. And he has bounced back strong. He's actually topping the board in terms of our overall net worth. That's exactly where he needs to be. Hasn't quite opened up a gap yet, but looking much better now. The blink showed up by Axe for the first time. AUI going to be hit with the Ice Path Macro Fire. And here's that tanking issue talked about. It is tough to kill a Witch Doctor, man. He is just buying time. Finally, though, Ohio not having similar problems to 7 on the Axe that we saw in our first series. Did not whiff on the Culling Blade.
Well, I will say that Jakiro is pretty damn good against Treant. You saw right there, the living armor did absolutely nothing. The heal actually from Witch Doctor was pretty impressive, but the living armor itself did, close to nothing. Here comes Mushi TPing in.
PPD's right there. He's going to hit him with the Leech Seed. And Fear being pursued out. There's going to be the Overgrowth Force Staff on the Mushi. DDC looking for a target. Can't find one. Sumail's there. Beautiful usage of the Earth Spike and the ulti from Mushi. Ice Path shot got 2. Sumail has to get out. PPD hanging right around. Hell no, he's not going anywhere. He's going to bottle up and go for the kill and got it. That's 3 down while Fear cleaned house behind the tier 2. And just like that, EG, who seemed to be slouching a little bit in the early phases of this game, finds themselves on top 8-3 in terms of pure overall kills. And suddenly ZYF's way out of position. Sumail catches him, got him with the Searing Chains. Can they get someone else in range? There's the Cask. Not going to get any kind of a bounce to any creeps. Sumail still close by, doesn't have another bottle charge though. And
very unlucky, very unfortunate.
RNG, not on Sumail's side that time. Nonetheless, a big coup for the boys in blue, as that gold graph is turned on its head and is now steadily in favor of Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, and it was a weird play too by Inflame. He ulted a full Ember Spirit Flame Guard in literally nothing. And that is not what you want to use on your level 1 ulti, because that cooldown is super long. It's 160 seconds, drops by 60 seconds each level, so that is not an optimal target. Now the damage actually from the OD with the Arcane Orb, because it's pure, is actually very effective against Ember, but just didn't have the sustainability in the team fight long enough to be alive. He's only sitting at 900 HP, and despite having the very early Force Staff, is still very susceptible to death if he gets caught. Here goes with an axe. Not quick enough, actually, to pull the trigger. Oh, boy.
Makes it back. We have seen some sketchy axe play, man, no doubt. And EG back on the run. Will they be able to catch anyone? Yep, they got Ohio, who is just kicking it, doing his best hippie impression out in the trees. And that's, at this point, EG is just, LV just looks sloppy, just sloppy.
Yeah, I mean, they had a great, it's the same thing that CDEC. They had great starts and then just kind of making some terrible decisions. He didn't even try for the call there. Like, if he tried for it and Sumail gets out, I would say, wow, great play, Sumail, that was really fast, but he didn't even try for it. So at least they're getting some counter pushing in the mid, but very, very sketchy plays coming out from LV. They're so damn strong right out of the gates, but EG bouncing back. And this is what I'm talking about, the kind of timings that they had. I thought they would be delayed because of the slow start, but with those extra kills that they have with 9-3 of a lead, it's going to get scary. Now, like, this Vanguard into Crimson Guard is going to be very, very good for Fear and company, level 4 living armor and all that jazz. It's just, EG is where they want to be.
And they found ZYF. Sumail broke his smoke to try to engage, but the follow-up wasn't there. A little bit of a miscommunication in terms of what direction they were heading. They may have a chance to catch Inflame. Hell, they may have a chance to catch this Courier, and they will. Hi, Courier. Easy peasy.
Radiant's Courier has been
and an accident of timing there for LV. EG certainly happy to have it, though. And in the meantime, they actually did manage to kill the Ember here in mid, so Ohio got his call off that time.
Yes. And also a great hero against the Ember, because while Ember has this great mitigation of magic damage, no mitigation for physical. So if you get a lot of procs on that counter Helix, it can actually be quite easy to bring the Ember Spirit down. Nicely played.
We're going to see DDC bail out. Looks like he smelled a rat. Thought something was going to be up in this bottom lane, and he was correct. No salvaging this tier 1 unless they want to TP right now. Instead, looks like LV just wants to trade tier 1s.
Yeah, unfortunately, the item progression and just the farm from Mushi has been really lackluster in the last 10 minutes. If you look at 10 minutes ago exactly, he had his Force Staff. And right now he's sitting at just an ulti orb. So he farmed 2,100, about 2,800 gold, because he's got 700 right now in about 10 minutes. This is not optimal. So We'll see a nice deny there
Been denied.
from the Lycan there, as he's actually getting
Dire's
stuck
top
or
tower is under
in vision
attack.
here of PPD. So we'll see if they want to make something happen.
Sentry's down. Peter's got to be
Dire's
careful.
top tower has fallen.
Very nice deny, as you mentioned. And oh, hello, Peter. Ping, ping, ping.
Oh, they got
There's
him.
the Hex. Can they follow? They sure can. Another Sentry goes down, just a security, easy kill. A little bit of overkill, and EG says that's fine. Space created. Peter Familius. We're going to go bang on the big dude in the Santa hat.
And this is a great Roach line. Well, Sumail taking some unnecessary damage, but
Is under attack.
he's actually taking a lot of damage, but it should be Fear the one that's tanking. He just really, if you look at, he just really wants to hit Sumail every time.
Yep, for sure.
But this will be an Aegis here for probably Sumail. I don't think Fear really needs it. Another smoke actually coming out from the 4 of them. We'll see if they can actually catch someone with this. Oh, yep, Mushi. If his spider senses aren't tingling, he could die here. We'll see.
Dire's
Blink coil, does
structures
Puck have the
are
blink? He
fortified.
does, yes, of course. And he does sense it, so nice heads up decision making there from Mushi.
Still might have a chance to catch in Flame. He's hanging in the jungle and mid as well, Ohio. Showing himself, and yep, Sumail right on top of him. Searing Chains. Got the call off. He's going to run away for the moment. There's going to be the cask, and that'll be all she wrote for Ohio. So they get an Aegis, they get a free kill, and the smoke ends up being worthwhile after all. That should be Sumail's. Yep, that's going to be his Battle Fury done. So he's got a Battle Fury, a fresh Aegis, and quite a big smile on his face, I would say. This game is certainly going EG's way.
Yeah, this is about standard timing, I would say, for the Battle Fury and the drums for him. So he's in a very good spot. He's pretty much, well, you know what? I say he's pretty much their only carry, but look at Fear's farm, man.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's actually top net worth, and he went up solo against an Outworld Devourer, man. This is pretty impressive farm. He hasn't gone for the Crimson Guard yet, which I do think is peculiar because of the reasons I mentioned before. I think it's very, very good this game. I would really love to see him pick that up. If this game, if any. Of course, Blade Mail is fine too, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see if that's what he wants to go for. I really recommend it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Crimson Guard Pipe. Like, those two items not only work naturally with his playstyle and what you're going to want to do on a Bristleback, but LV would just struggle to do anything to your team. I mean, like you said, you saw how absolutely useless that Lion felt, as well leveled as he was, whenever he decided to throw an ult right into the back of a Flame Guard. And that's basically a pipe. So, Fear runs right up into the face of Mushi. He's got a team behind him trying to bait something out. Mushi, though, looks like he smells a rat once again. He's going to duck into the trees. Universe blinking after him. He's got a coil, and
boy.
he'll hold on to it. Let's see how they got him.
We'll see if the team can get there in time. Maybe you can buy enough space.
Yep, they're coming from behind. Here we go. They're going to engage. There's going to be a
Great
call.
call.
Beautiful call. Sumail completely crushed. His Aegis down. Fear still up and fighting. No Sumail about to come back up. Ohio left behind. He's going to end up dead behind the fight. In the meantime, we still see PPD trying to pursue one out. And Sumail up and giving pursuit himself. Searing Chains only got one. It was in Flame. 2 for 2. And in the meantime, PPD still right on top of Mushi. DDC's there. Sumail gets the Searing Chains off. They don't want to commit, and probably the right choice to make that time around. Wolves and Necro Creeps. That is a book 3, by the way, that is done on that Lycan. So those creeps, no joke. But ends up being a 2 for 2. And I would actually say that favored LV.
It did favor because they were farming for a while. The whole time that they were trying to close in on Mushi to gank him, the other heroes of LV were farming. So when it ends up being an even exchange like that, and in fact Mushi did live, it did favor slightly LV. And actually, if you look at the net worth, ZYF is really pulling ahead now. I mean, in comparison to where he was 3,000 gold behind the Bristleback at one point, is now top, so has really sped up his farm. Necro 3, BKB on the way. And the biggest thing for LV against EG as we approach the mid game is keeping down the Ember Spirit. If you saw how fast they can frickin' burst him down, the only problem this time was that he had an Aegis. Next time, he won't be so lucky.
Exactly. And again, this is where items like Pipe, like Crimson Guard, really come into play. And just having the Flame Guard up and available makes a big, big difference.
Yeah, I actually think that, okay, Universe is going for the Euls, which is a very standard item now in this metagame for Puck. I actually think Force Staff would be better for the same reasons you were mentioning. Like, if he gets gone on, he has number of ways to heal him and to just buy him some time. But if he's facing the right way, I think Force Staff is kind of underrated in that sense, just saving your teammates if they're facing the right way. So I would have actually preferred to see a Force Staff on Universe over the Euls. So maybe if Peter can farm one, he's not farming too much, but if it starts going EG's way, I think Force Staff would be great as well.
Fear up front, leading with the chin, with the Nature's Guys. He's spotted as the Sentry was dropped, and it looks like LV doesn't want a part of it. Up atop, AUI trying to play some catch-up, working on
Oh.
a scepter.
They're going to gank him.
Yep, and they may have a good chance to catch him if they can get there in time. AUI usually with pretty good game sense, knows they backed off a bottom. Yeah, he's not going to stand around.
I wonder why they didn't smoke. They actually had to smoke on Axe, and they just chose not to use it.
Probably
And
just not a high enough priority kill. I mean, if you
Perhaps.
get him, it's nice, but it's not like you're chasing down Sumail.
Perhaps, that is true. Although the Axe onto the Witch Doctor is nothing to scoff at. I mean, that is pretty damn scary. Although it's scary, but there's a lot of ways to kind of disrupt it and just get away from it. They got 2 stuns on the Lion, long range one on Jakiro. Now we're going to see Inflame actually just walk really boldly into the jungle. He's pinged out, places a ward. They probably suspect it once he bolts out of there, if he does. And yeah, Peter's scouting this out. They could potentially jump on this. There's a drums popped from Sumail.
And
This should be a
Flame.
kill on Inflame.
Yep. And yeah, I don't know if that was miscommunication or hubris or both.
Yeah, I don't know why he was standing there for so long. Like his team was not coming. And he was just kind of like chilling there, didn't smoke in, just kind of walked,
Radiant's bottom tower
placed a ward,
is
and
under
then it's
attack.
chilled.
Worth mentioning, the old dirty Mushi finishing his Scythe of Ice. So he's in good shape, and they have some answers now, at least one more answer to Sumail's Ember Spirit, and Lockdown just so important. I actually think the Scythe of Ice is a pretty big pickup. Like we said, it's kind of a battle of how survivable is he, you know, who's going to take the fights, who's going to initiate. Now you have an answer not just to him, but also to the puck. You know, if you get the drop on 1 or 2 of them, having that one extra stun, that one extra little bit of time is going to make all the difference.
I'm actually more concerned about the Bristleback than the Ember Spirit, at least in this phase of the game. Ember Spirit will be great in the late game, but the Fierce farm is just scary, man. I mean, this was, again, we have to point out, this is a solo mid-Bristle against an OD.
Yep.
And he's almost closing in on his heart, so he's not going to get the Crimson Guard. I'm a little disappointed. I still think it's a great item for it. I mean, he's gonna want to upgrade it anyway because Vanguard starts to fall off later. But he will have the heart. He's going to be ridiculously tanky. If he gets isolated, though, he will get easily brought down. But in team fights, it's hard to isolate him in particular just because you have stuns and coils and heals and all that jazz.
Sumail spotted, going for the rune, and yeah, they're not even going to try.
Yeah.
Just giving him the DD, anticipating correctly that there was going to be help on the way. Probably not as much as they thought, otherwise they wouldn't have run. Either way, Universe on his way to the Yules and should have it momentarily. And speaking of Yules, how about one for Jakiro as well?
Yep, it's a pretty standard good item on him. If he can get a Blink, that's going to be massive. Like Blink Yules THD is one of the best combinations for a support hero in the game. He's going to be spotted out actually by Universe, who is under cover of nature's guise. And yeah, this could be bad for DDC.
Yep, there's a Lycan behind him. He's going to Yules up into the air. Here come the Necro Creeps trying to get involved. Overgrowth by PPD. Ice Path barely misses.
If he gets it, I think they get the kill actually.
Yep, I think so too.
I think it would have bought enough time for the minions to do their work, and they're hitting with that howl. Well, they were hitting for like what, 100 damage.
Yeah. Probably like 2
That's
million.
right. That's right.
Probably. 7-13. EG still in pretty good shape, but I am liking the way that LV has bounced back after giving up so much ground. In fact, saying they bounced back is kind of a misnomer. They've just been kind of hold and serve. They're sitting at just a small deficit in gold. The experience is a bit of a difference maker, but not the biggest deal in the world. There's the Scepter done on AUI, so his value in team fights, the physical damage output EG is going to be able to bring to bear, has jumped up considerably.
This is when the tree ultimate actually means something in team fights other than just, you know, being able to run away or something like that, because it gives him enough time. While it doesn't do damage without the Ag Scepter, it keeps him in place and long enough for that Witch Doctor ulti to really do some damage. And the biggest problem with the Bristleback now is that it used to be, and it somewhat still is, that you could just ignore him, like in fights. You just ignore him, go for him last, do not target him. He's going to do more damage if you do. But I don't think that's the case anymore in this patch with the recent buff to his ultimate, because he just does so much right-click damage now.
Yep.
The stacks are insane. He starts hitting for like, you know, 350 plus damage. It's ridiculous.
No, I completely agree with you. I mean,
Dire's top
it's
tower
easy to
is
underestimate the
under
value
attack.
of nasal goo as well. I mean, you can just stick on someone and make their life a hell, especially if you have any other source of physical damage output, which they certainly do in Sumail. And they're going to end up trading Tier 2 for Tier 2. It would seem Glyph is available on the side of EG. It is deployed for LV as well. So yeah, this should be a straight-up trade. They do have PP. No, actually, they're going to go up here and try to make something happen. They're going to take the tower pretty easily. And getting some damage done. Sumail left out to hang a little bit, though. Turns back around, and oh, man. Overgrowth is there, but it's way late. Inflame bursts him down, and we see Fear taken out with that. Now AUI, though, being focused down by the Lycan, got his ulti off, but it just didn't matter. Just a terrible misplay by EG in general. They just got, Sumail got a bit too far out, then he turned and got turned around and ended up giving up a lot more there than they certainly should have.
And he bought back and went,
yep.
Okay, this is what happened. He had a remnant that he put bottom right before they killed the tower. I was like, okay, this is kind of an interesting remnant. This is a remnant that says, if we win a fight, then I go back to bottom, but you're probably going to be using your remnants in fights anyway. I think he just thought he put a remnant before he died, but he didn't. And he actually went bottom, did one sleight of fist to Mushi and just ran away. So it was a complete waste of a buyback right there.
Yep. Perhaps feeling a little bit of the nerves, and understandably. Nonetheless, he's been playing pretty well. And we can see he is the most impactful hero or player on the map right now. 7-3-5 despite some small mistakes. This is going to be spotted out by a Lycan Wolf. And LV certainly not going to let this go uncontested.
This is going to be a game changer right here. This Roche fight is going to be massive. They need to wait for the Necrobook cooldown. It's cooling down in 5 seconds. They desperately need that in these fights. Fear is losing a lot of mana, and he doesn't do too. Oh no, the blink call was
oh, he missed on the call. The Universe there gets off a Waning Rift. He's going to be Yules up into the air. And now we see Mushi. His ulti is on cooldown, so he can't do anything with it. This is just a cluster of a fight.
Sumail's in trouble. He's out of mana.
Sumail has to back off. He's being healed up by AUI, but there's going to be the Death Ward getting a lot of damage done while he can. And Ohio perhaps in some trouble. Beautiful ice pad.
Oh my God.
Got Fear and Sumail both. And now LV, like you said, taking a game-changing fight. A lot of mistakes on both sides. Universe still trying to get away. And he does make it to the high ground. Thought LV was just going to abandon him, but they do. Finally, double back to the Roche pit. This is a 1/4 health Roshan, if even that, maybe 1/3. So should be a free Aegis. And yeah, both teams, their ups and their downs there. Nonetheless,
went for the big plays. Universe hopefully can still live for his sake.
Fear.
But not so lucky as Fear. We'll see. He's very tanky.
Fear caught out, hexed out, and has no mana. Tanky as he is.
He's fine.
Yep, they're actually not even going to chase him.
Yeah,
and Universe, like you said, trying to make a big play happen.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. You know what? I don't think that Seven and Ohio have graduated from Blink Call School yet.
Yes.
Because we have not seen the cleanest of axe play. Imagine if he hits that, though, because the team fight went so well for them.
Yep.
Imagine
if he gets like 2.
If they just blow up the Ember Spear before anything happens, because I think that the tree was out of range initially.
Yep.
And you saw how much damage still that OD's doing. That's pure damage again. That shield does not do anything against that. And of course his ulti just packs a punch as well. So we'll see. Like I said, if that call hits, it's a much easier team fight. And a gem is picked up now for Lion. No more Nature's Guys shenanigans.
EG, one-time owners of the biggest lead in the game, still was a marginal lead. And LV has eclipsed that now, swinging things totally into their favor. And Lycan beginning to show his true power. Mushi now working on that BKB has picked up his Ogre Club. Thought he might go with that first, instead delaying it to his third big item. The Scythe of Ice certainly paying for itself, and yeah, there's the BKB
Very
now
nice.
complete. And he's looking to be in fantastic shape.
Yeah, this OD pick is actually so good against Ember Spirit. Like, those auto attacks are so good against him. I'm pretty sure he can kill him in a Scythe device with just auto attacks in that small duration of, what, 3 seconds? Yeah, 3.5 actually. I think he can. I think he does enough damage, and now he's got the BKB to help him from the overgrowth and from the silence from Puck.
Universe is lying in wait up at top. Mushi will show himself, and Universe immediately bails out. Down at bottom, EG has some aggressive potential if they want to bring everyone out. Same true, of course, of LV. And I'm tempted to call this bottom lane, this bottom tier 1 in particular, Stalingrad. It has been defended forever and healed up by PPD.
Ooh, they're really trying to get somebody here. Inflame might be in trouble, but he kind of jukes a little bit. Nope, they found
good
him.
guess. And there we go. Gonna coil him. Looks like they took a minute to try and make sure they coordinated on who was gonna do what.
Yeah.
But they secure the kill nonetheless. There is no tier 2 to be claimed after that. At top, Mushi farming and pushing all the way up to the tier 3. That'll force a reaction as Sumail heads back that way to farm. He's got his little crit stick done.
I think Mushi could kill him here. If he goes up another wave and he gets far up, I know it's not going to, because he's not going to have Cravey spawn for another 5 seconds, so that, yeah, he's too close to his tower. But mid lane, Universe, not so lucky. Are they going to drop the hammer?
Jeez.
No need, not necessary.
The right click from Mushi is just off the charts right now, man. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's sickening, actually. And then with the Howl on top of it, too. Very, very good. An extra 50 damage just on top of that.
EG a bit on the ropes now. And BKB is going to be done on Ohio here soon as well. If you're EG, what's the game plan, man? Sit back and call it out. Like, what do you do?
Well, it's hard because, like I said, this is a timing window team. They wanted to just kind of get their farms, get their core items, and run at people. I almost feel like the Ember Spirit was not the best pick. I know that Sumail loves this hero, and I know that he has been requesting it. They're actually going to pop the Overgrowth just so that Fear can get here. And I guess Overgrowth for BKB, I'll take it if I'm EG. Yeah. But I don't know if this. I'm convinced with this Ember Spirit pick. I just feel like it needed to be either one, a hero that completely runs at heroes and just is an early to mid game hero, and they just go with their draft, or B, a total free farming hard carry Ricer like PA. I feel like Ember's kind of in the middle of that, and it's not really working out too well, at least at this juncture.
Oh no, I agree. Inflame engages on the Universe, could be in trouble. Follow up with the Earth Spike, well timed. Ice Path on point. Down he goes. And CYF claims that kill as well.
He used the finger too, but he didn't get the kill at the last second.
That pup style, though.
Yeah.
8-1 for CYF, 8-4 for Sumail, 4-0 for Fear. Our top performers throughout this game thus far. Definitely begin to get the feeling the worm is turned. And we're going to see ZYF has an Assault Cuirass practically, hell, not practically done, it is done. He just has to fly the courier home and get the recipe. This tier 1 should finally drop now, I would think. At top, Fear's doing his best to split push. And they're going to send at least one back. That'll be Ohio. See how cute he wants to get here. TP coming in, there's going to be the call. Didn't miss the blink call that time, and yeah, Fear's dead.
So much damage. That
so much damage.
He's going to pop the BKB. I thought his window could have, okay, no. He still
has it. He whiffed on it. It was close.
Yeah, it was very, very close. Kill threshold is 450. I feel like if that's the pre-nerf slash buff, whatever you want to call it, he would have got that kill.
Yep.
Would have been very close. But it also, I think, I don't know why Fear waited so long on the TP. I think if he BKB just TP'd, it would have been a much safer scenario to not get his heart rate up so much.
36 minute in, and LV, who seemed like they were kind of just keeping a toehold for a while, have really brought this game under their entire influence. And they're set to dictate the pace. Looks like they want to make something happen at top. They may be flashing their way down towards mid, though. There's that blink on the Jakiro you were talking about.
Yep. Very, very good. It just gives another hero a strong initiation tool. They have it from Lion. They have it from the Axe. Even, hell, OD has some nice initiation, but now, arguably, the best is the Jakiro.
Wow.
Wait, what happened?
They, Fear ran up with his chin, didn't have really anyone near him, ran into two heroes, got Hex, and they all ran away, just assuming they had a whole team behind him. He does now. Sentry down, and here we go. Fear's going to end up being Hexed. We've got Ohio trying to come in. Yule's on the one. There's another ball. Beautifully played. PPD down, Fear down. Got the Culling Blade that time around. Here comes Sumail, though, wants to clean up shop, gets a kill on the one, but CYF trying to pursue him out. It's a 2 for 1, make it 3 for 1 as Universe dies behind the fight. And Sumail
gets done.
Got him. Didn't even need the ice path. ZYF can't get in, though. Sleight of Fist is doing a bit of damage. He's going to try to... Never mind.
Oh, my
Jeez! Triple kill for for Mushi. And, yeah, that's a 4 for 1. Not even really contested. Sumail basically got 3-shot.
Oh my god, the damage. If he gets isolated at all, that's at the end of a fight. Imagine if they do it at the beginning. They just lose, do they not? I don't think that Bristleback just does enough. And maybe I was right.
He was out by himself is the problem. He got hexed like right here, and the rest of the team was engaging right around here.
Well, I mean, if Ember dies, I'm trying to figure out if they actually have enough to even fight. Like, I feel like if he just dies, they just lose the team fight automatically.
Yeah, where else is there damage?
Maybe I was right in the fact that Bristleback is still just that hero that gets kited, and they kind of ignore it. And of course, in this instance, it was a little different because he was the first to be caught out. But in a more general sense, in most team fights, he's just probably going to get ignored. Ember Spirit's going to get targeted every single time, and then I don't think they have the damage. I think EG's kind of missed their window.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with you. BKB's now done on the Axe, so he's going to be an unholy terror running throughout these fights. The Lycan picked up his Assault Cuirass, as we saw already. Has another grand setback for himself. And hell, he's got a Basher, why not? Inflame picks up an Invis, has really the only item he needs, which is a Blink. And EG's on the ropes, and the problem is, it's one thing to be on the ropes and be like, well, if we just farm long enough, maybe we can come back. they just need a lot of mistakes from LV, and LV is not showing a propensity for making those mistakes down the stretch.
Yeah, they're being a little bit more careful with their engagements. Like, for instance, at the beginning, I mean, right now we see ZYF is 8-1-5, is carrying this game. That first death was the most questionable play I've seen from this guy. And I was like, dude, were we wrong about this guy? But he's like, no, it was just, as Artur would say, it was my release death or my release game or whatever. But, yeah, he's been playing phenomenally since that disaster of a play with almost 6 slots now. He just needs that Abyssal, and he'll be good to go. I saw something picked up on the Ember. Yeah, the data list is completed, but this is not all that scary, to be honest, against what LV has.
Yep, like you said, the big crit stick done now for Sumail. Problem is he had the little crit stick about 1,000,000 years ago.
Yeah.
It's his item progression has really slowed. He's still, again, been an impactful player, but 9-5-1 for him, it's just not enough. His overall net worth is one big item behind the 2 best of LV. And EG's composition, and again, you know, you brought up Bristleback, maybe he's just this hero that, you know, et cetera, et cetera. This is just really good drafting and item progression out of LV. Just good item choice, as a matter of fact. They have so many answers, so many ways to take heroes like a Bristleback, like a Puck out of the fight for as long as they need to. They have ways to isolate the Ember Spirit. It's just been well played on the whole. And we are getting to a point now, I do believe, where 1 or 2 fights could change things. And how about this one?
Smoke versus smoke.
Oh, 2 ships passing in the night as EG crosses to the west while LV heads east. Now they're doubling back. They've got about a quarter time left on that smoke. It's going to be the same for LV. Mushi's serving as bait, and it looks like EG. Are they going to get there? Oh,
they're going to be revealed in 1 second by the smoke.
There they are. Now they're going to go in. There's the waning rip. The Universe got caught. Look at the right click. Universe down immediately. There's the death ward, but PPD using the overgrowth as best he can. Sumail can't find a target. Searing Chains don't do much. Fear using that BKB. Sumail has to turn around. ZYF giving pursuit. Catches AUI from behind. He's going to be focused down at Ohio. Burning to death with the urn. Now there's going to be Fear coming back down to a harsh landing. Just continue to look at this damage. Inflame.
It's all out of mana. Inflame stole his
mana.
mana.
There's the hammer. As Mushi cleans things up along with ZYF. That's a full 5-man wipe, and that's very likely to be your ball game.
Well, we'll see. There's still a bit to be played, but that was kind of a funny. I wonder if that was just like a taunting BKB from ZYF. 100% unnecessary at the end there. He had full HP, full mana. He's like, you know what? Here, have my 6-second BKB or whatever it is, 7-second, and easiest Roshan of their lives. The damage is just too much, honestly, from OD. He just. If he doesn't die, here's the problem though. They go all out and kill OD. They have multiple ways to stay in the fight between Axe, between Lycan, actually, speaking of DDC, getting gone on here by Universe, it looks like he is going to die, or he's not.
Very nice Astral Imprison.
I actually think that might have killed him. I think he was going to be okay. Okay, nope, he's still fine. He actually blinks forward,
Oh, they got AUI from behind with a bash. Ghost Scepter keeps him alive. So unable to pursue him out. But yeah, Universe still being cheeky. He's going to find himself a bounty rune, Astral Imprisonment on point. And he's able to blink away. Oh, good play from Inflame. Using that haste, he's on top of him. There's going to be an overgrowth. The Universe still alive. Here comes Sumail. BKBs are going to be deployed though, and Sumail has to make a run for it along with the rest of his team. So LV looks like they've had enough. Not going to pursue too much further, I would think. Universe being healed up with the urn and the living armor. And Necro Creep's going to end up burning down. But for now, the lead handily LVs. They're way up into 5-digit territory in terms of gold and experience. They have cheese. Did they pick up the cheese? Yeah, they did. They have cheese. They have an Aegis. And they have everything they need to make this a Game 1 lead for them.
Yep. And Universe is actually playing very, very well in this game, just creating a lot of space, making them waste a lot of time to kill him when they can't actually kill him, so very nicely played. I have to correct myself, too. That definitely wasn't hurting a hurting Astral Imprisonment from him, because it basically gives you a free blink because you're taking no damage for 4 seconds. So got to correct myself on that one. It was a nice play by Mushi. And, yep, they continue to be in a better spot right now. No Rax is down, and I think it's still safe to say it's, you know, a very good game if no Raxes fall. Of course, they're in a fantastic lead, but the scariest thing is that when they do want to push high ground and they do have, like, a kill under their belt before they do so, they will take it fast with this Lycan.
Yeah, it looks like they're about ready for that. Only one outer tier tower still remaining. That's at bottom. They've grouped as 5, and they're running down this bottom lane. I'll be surprised if EG even contest it. I think they're just going to give this up and wait for them to run high ground. And that might not be long. OD picked up his Shivas. So he's not only hitting hard, he is hard to hit, as he is survivable as hell. Yep, look at that. Yeah. Tower down so quickly. Book creep still fresh, and they're going to go ahead and send them on up to the tier 3. EG's going to have to pull back soon and try to make their last stand.
I wonder. Okay, it looks like LV wants to do some kind of play, like maybe make them think that they're backing off, and then run in and fight them. Yeah, the cheese is up onto the THG. Oh.
Call missed. He tried to go. Universe was up front, and he whiffed on it.
Yep. Unfortunately, these slow kind of pushes against a team with Treant don't really do too much.
Yep.
Because you can't just heal it, so you kind of have to commit and go all in for it. You can't just kind of poke at it like you can with most lineups.
I don't know why they wouldn't. They've still got 2 minutes on their Aegis. They still have the cheese.
I agree. I think they should go.
Yep. I don't know what EG can do. I mean, hell, ZYF's got an Abyssal, man.
Nice plays there by DDC using his Ice Path for some extra vision and counters that main ward there with his gem.
Wow.
And no, they don't want to fight yet. I am surprised just as much as you. I think that now would be a great window time to go.
Yeah, I have no idea why. They, again, have an Aegis. They're overwhelming in how hard they hit.
Well, we'll see. He's rushing back towards bottom. I believe he has it for another minute and 20 or something like that.
Yep, give or take.
But yeah, I feel like this time better than ever. I guess they're waiting for the next Necro book. Yeah. Yep.
All right, here we go. Necro book should be up in about 10 seconds. Hell, check that, 5. And EG digging in. What could be their last stand here in game 1 if they decide to push. LV continuing to play this ultra patient. They're going to want a good blink call out of Ohio. If they get Sumail, that'd certainly be a bonus. And there's going to be the orb. They're going to rush in. They're leading with ZYF. And the damage output is tremendous. He's going to BKB right off. Just going to take the tier 3. Here we go. Mushi with the Astral Imprisonment on the Fear. Sumail coming in from behind. It's going to be an Ice Path. And Universe actually got Hex there. Can they bring him down quickly enough? Yes, they can! As Mushi drops the hammer. Damage output from AUI is actually fantastic, as Mushi has to imprison himself to survive. EG trying to play this out, and they will be able to, a little bit of a lag there, have to catch up on the action. Ohio manages to cheese himself back into relevancy, buyback on AUI. DDC makes it back to the high ground. Fear still up and running. Look at that. Manages to bring him down fairly easily. Behind that, there's the Aegis up on Mushi. Sumail takes too much damage, though. Now Fear trying to hold the line on his own. Sumail has to buy back. AUI, 3, 4, oh, would have been 4 clicks. Ghost Scepters himself back to safety. Sumail up off this buyback. Wants the kill on the Mushi. We'll be able to at least get 1 before he ends up dropping. So EG holds for now. Cost them a couple buybacks, though. But it also cost LV cheese and Aegis.
Yeah, a great hold, though, from EG. I mean, they still managed to hold it. The only kind of unfortunate thing, though, is that Aoi was the one that got that big bonus of gold.
Yeah.
It would have been much better on the Ember Spirit or the Bristleback even. Probably the Ember Spirit, but yeah, I don't think that Aoi's going to do too much with this 900 gold. He's very far away from any kind of new item. And there's a full refresher bought up from the OD, still has buyback, and that's going to be massive. Massive. Double ulti, double BKB, double the fun with every spell and ability he's got. Probably one of the best refresher hero combinations you can get in the game.
Well, like you said, EG slowly holding. But that is basically the last chance they have to lose a fight, Aegis or not. Speaking of, Roche will be back up not too long from now. And it wouldn't surprise me if both teams just farmed for a bit. Just waiting on the next Roshan.
Yep, absolutely. And they definitely want to fight and wait until they get the double ulti up from OD. But he's responding in 20. By the time they run up to a building, he's going to have both of them. So, I mean, if I was them, honestly, yeah, they don't have Roshan. There's two things they could do. They could either rush up there as soon as OD respawns, knowing full well that Sumail has no buyback, kill him, win the game. Or they take it, like you said, ultra safe, wait for the next Roshan, get an Aegis up onto your Lycan. Actually, he can't, I guess he can sell the Vlad. So yeah, he can get the Aegis, cheese on Jakiro again or something like that, and then take it really slow from there. But like I said, I think fighting in the window of no buybacks is very effective, obviously. And they are smoked, so it looks like they might go with the former option.
Yep. Moving out, ready to make something happen. They cross the river. Sumail's up front. No buyback for him for 5 minutes. They are going to manage to find Fear, but that's
no,
not the
Sumail.
target they want. Oh, Sumail's out by himself. He's got to run, but he does have a haste. In the meantime, we see Fear doing damage to ZYF.
That's a BKB on Bristol. That's not too bad for LV. Yeah, they did use the ultimate. But
Up there's a call. Ohio jumps in, got Sumail, and brought him down. Mushi dropped the hammer and managed to bring him down. That's no buyback for him for 4 minutes. If they can make it out and keep everyone alive long enough to reset, they're going to be in great shape. No, there's going to be the overgrowth of PPD. PPD up front, there's going to be another ulti as the refresh is there. Universe just about to drop. Fear in trouble as well. They will get him. Universe next on the list. They got, no! Phase shift, almost got him. And he's able to blink away. In the meantime, Ohio doing what he can behind that. AUI survives. Missed shot on one, but got him with the Earth Spike. And AUI next to die. Buyback on PPD this time. Fear still up and standing. Ice Path caught him. He's very, very healthy. Universe still hanging around and being cutesy with 200 HP.
Yeah.
Ohio might catch him. Makes it to the high ground. He'll be safe. Behind that, Fear still just harrying them.
they want to get out now. Just cut your losses. You got the buyback up from Bristol. Just run away. Don't try to do anything fancy. And I think they'll be fine. He's gonna, oh, no, they shouldn't do this, I don't feel. He's pretty damn tanky.
Yeah, looks like they're kind of hemming and hawing about it. Behind that, we see PPD has an eye on things. He's still hanging around. There's going to be the leech scene on Ohio for staff to safety, not to complete safety, though.
Just run, guys. Just run.
Ice Path is there. Universe trying to pursue them out. He's got a bead on Inflame. Uses him up. Fear's there, as is PPD. PPD has an overgrowth that they needed. He may use it with 2 on his tail. No! Just blown to pieces. Should have used the overgrowth. Fear now taking more damage. They're so low. This fight continues to rage on as Fear has to make a break for the tier 3. In the meantime, Mushi broke the coil. Fear looking for him. There's another Yules this time from DDC. Ice Path on point.
Got him.
Mushi standing right there behind that. They do manage to get the Coaling Blade onto one more. Sumail's going to be back up in 4 seconds. In the meantime, Fear comes back out, and they're just slowly kiting him to death, and finally the raid boss dies.
Oh, no.
AUI next on the list, came back out. He's down now. You ever go to a tough man contest and you just see two big, out-of-shape dudes get up and throw haymakers for 2 minutes until they both finally are so exhausted they lay on each other? That's how that engagement felt, just drug on. And unfortunately, EG caught one on the chin before LV did.
Yeah, oh boy. I mean, Ember's up, but no one has buyback, not a single person. They tried to get the Yules up onto it. It was a nice try by DDC, but Sumail does get away. Not going to matter. This rack's 100% dead. Probably another set as well, if not the game. Trying to get maybe a Hex on him. They know if they kill him, it's game secured. I think it's already game secured with no Bristle for 80 seconds. He is sheeped.
Jeez, that damage. Oh, beautiful Ice Path. Sumail's down.
That's game. There's no way. He's down for 90.
Yep. And PPD down as well.
Yep, GG.
GG called. So Evil Geniuses, the new look EG. Not a bad introduction for Sumail, but by the time all was said and done, it wasn't enough. EG drops game 1. So the tail of the tape so far, man, throughout both of these leadoff series has been the #1 seed dropping game 1. And LV looking very strong under Mushi and Ohio with those additions to their lineup. And I'm excited to see what this team has to show us, not just in game 2, but for the rest of this tournament and beyond. This team, this is so early in their development as a squad, and they are already looking this tight in a LAN environment.
I mean, ZYF is a beast. Other than that one kill, or that one death, I should say, he played a phenomenal game. I loved the idea of just having him rotate so early on, much earlier than most teams would have. Most teams wait till about minute 6 or 7 and then get that Vlad's and then go to the jungle. But he went, when he was level 4, he went at like minute 3, gave so much space to the Lion. Could have had a much faster blink, but they had a really bad series of blunders that kind of delayed that, but it was a very nice strategy from them. Kind of a shaky performance, at least in the beginning,
right,
from from the Outworld Devourer, at least in the laning stage. I thought he could have done a little bit better. I think Fear did fantastically in that lane. But man, once it hit the mid to late game, Mushi delivered. Going
For sure.
16 and 3. I mean, that guy just played out of his mind once he hit that mid game.
Just really good drafting across the board for LV, I think. And again, it's,
Yeah.
you know, EG played okay. There were certainly, I think, some nerves for our youngster and a few other things as well. But for the most part, LV just played well. They drafted well. And this is what really defined them and their success throughout D2L. They're just a well-rounded squad.
Yeah.
And, yeah, game 2 going to be coming up here shortly. I'm AC, and that's Trout. You're tuned in to our second series of the D2L Season 5 Finals here in Las Vegas, brought to you by HyperX. Game 2 of this series coming up here in just a moment. Stick with us. We'll be right back.